Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, the Shrewsbury Public Library podcast, where you'll find the news, events, people, and the exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the Shrewsbury Public Library. I'm your host, Mike Zeller, the Assistant Library Director. I'm joined here by my co-host, Annie Lee King.
I'm here. I'm the teen librarian, and I think we might be setting a record for longest time waiting for a sequel on a first episode.
Yes. It's been a long time, a big gap between episodes. But as we had talked a little bit about in the last one, our erstwhile new radio DJ that we used to have, Dana, moved on to greener pastures, and as did a few other staff. So we've been a little bit busy lately. I think this will be a more regularly scheduled thing, though. So I'm sure you missed us. We're very sorry. We won't let it happen again.
Who knows? Maybe with us back on the scene, the next Song of Ice and Fire book will be shortly forthcoming.
I would assume so, right? Yeah. That's there was an article I read a couple of days ago about the fact that like everyone just needs to let it go. That George R.R. Martin is never going to finish writing that book.
I will live in hope until the day I or he dies.
Sure, yeah, that's fair. He's got to work more on Elden Ring these days. So thank you for joining us. Also joining us here today is our guest, Deb LeBeau from our Board of Trustees. Welcome, Deb.
Feeling very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, Deb has been a part of our library family for quite a while, and we wanted to invite her here to tell us a little bit about what a board of trustees does for a library. We say right in the intro that we want to give people some behind the scenes information, and I feel like in general people don't really know what a library board of trustees does. Has that been your experience when you tell people that you're on a library board of trustees?
Yeah, you kind of get a blank stare every now and then.
Truthfully, this will be good information for me, as I do not think, even as a fairly long-time employee of this library, if pressed, I could possibly name the three branches of government here. I don't know if I could explain their roles.
Sometimes the people who learn the most on our show are us.
What did they say? It's darkest at the base of the lighthouse.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, just a lot of blank stares, a lot of oh, good for you.
Exactly. That sounds nice.
Do you read a lot?
Yeah. You must like books.
So to get started, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background? I know you've lived in Shrewsbury for a long time,
Yeah. So I have lived in Shrewsbury for a long time. I was raised here, not born here, raised here. Went through the school system, and after my husband and I got married, we actually lived in New York City for about 4 years, where I went to social work school, and he tried to be an actor.
Wow.
And he did. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we got to live in the Big Apple for about 4 years. We had no kids. It was an amazing time. And I worked as a social worker. And then we decided, you know what? We do not want to carry a baby carriage down the subway stairs and up the subway stairs. So we came back to Shrewsbury, where my husband's family owned a business, Shrewsbury Nurseries, and he worked there for many years. And we became parents, and I continued my social work career. I worked in mainly medical settings, but also in private settings. I stopped working a few years back, right before the pandemic. And since that time, I've been really trying to sort out this phase of my life, which includes a lot of grandparent time. Thank goodness. We've got 6 grandkids. And I do some other things around town. I'm a Shine counselor, which is somebody who helps people navigate the Medicare system. And, I like gardening, and I do like reading.
What's your favorite book?
Oh, gosh, I don't think I have a favorite one. I have a list of favorites, but not a single one.
Well, is there something you've read recently that you would recommend to a friend?
I've read some really crummy mystery books lately that I thought would be a fun summer read, but ultimately they're like, this doesn't come. But I am reading now, what is it called? Eleanor Oliphant is Fine or something like
Oh, yeah,
that.
right.
Kind of a quirky, fun book. I enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed Horse by Geraldine Brooks. She was very good. That was good. Gentleman in Moscow was one of my favorites.
I think that's having a renaissance since the publication of his latest book.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Cool. Well, so then, that's your story, how you wound up back here. How
Yeah.
did you particularly get involved with the board of trustees here?
Well, it was kind of a circuitous path in many ways. My mother, Dorothy Perkins, was very involved with the Friends. And through that, I think I learned about the Foreign Film Festival.
Oh, yeah.
And attended those films from the beginning and just loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And tried to kind of get a discussion after the films, that kind of a thing, and realized, you know what? The library isn't just some place for me to go and I can be a part of it too.
Right, yeah.
So I became, after my mom retired from her position as a secretary of the Friends, I assumed that position and was secretary for about 10 years. And then from there, I thought, well, maybe I can even do more.
Yeah.
So a seat became open on the trustees, and I ran for it, and that's how it all kind of came to be.
I think that's something a lot of people might not realize is that the board's elected.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It is an elected position. There's 9 board members, and each term is 3 years.
Yeah, some of those elections get real nasty. Just a lot of
They can.
a lot of real negativity.
Yeah, they can. That hasn't happened here, but I understand they can.
Yeah, no, Shrewsbury, it's always been, I shouldn't say always, but
Yeah,
it's
I
usually
haven't heard any controversial,
No.
but who knows? Who knows?
We're all trying to get the
Yeah,
same thing
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So then, can you tell us a little bit about what that's
Sure.
been like? What have been your experiences on the
So the
board?
first 3 years, I just kind of, it's like kind of working at a job. It takes a year to finally get all the pieces
Sure,
together, to
yeah.
understand the regulations, to understand the roles. So it's like that for any new thing. So anyway, the first year I did that, and then I got a little bit more involved, I think, as I felt more confident in my role. And when I started, Ellen was the director.
Right. Yep.
So she then, I think before my first term was over, decided it was time for her to head out to greener pastures
To be a grandparent.
Yes, that's right. So I became part of the search for the new director, which, as we all know now, is Priya. And so that kind of deepened, I think, my understanding of the library, not only as an institution in and of itself, but as part of the community.
Right.
Because that search included the community.
Yeah.
And so that was really great. I really enjoyed being part of that search committee. It was really, I think, a good representation of the town, the
Yeah.
people who were on that committee. So from there, I think in my second go-around, I became chair, and I was chair for 3 years, and that's when you really kind of dig
Yeah.
down deep
Oh, yeah.
into it.
Yeah. You're calling the shots.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think, one of the things that says in the library trustees handbook that is published by the commissioners of the Massachusetts Library is that being a trustee of the library is really a position of public trust.
Yeah.
You're there to represent your community and make sure that the library services are truly available to everybody in the community. And that sounds easier said than done. It really is. I mean, you don't realize how many implicit biases there
Yeah.
are, and you really kind of have to step in the shoes of other people and get a sense of how do they see the library, not necessarily how I see it, which as a child, I used to be able to walk to the library. It was like my favorite place to be on the earth. But not everybody feels that way. So you kind of have to, get a sense, get a better sense, and also how other community, our municipal departments see the library too. So, yeah. So anyway, being chair, it's a big job. It really is a big job. Yeah. So you have to kind of prepare the agenda for the monthly meetings with the director. And you have to kind of keep in mind everything that I was just saying about, is this really something that we need to talk about, or do we need to expand it more, whatever the case may be. You need to be very conscious of open meeting laws.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is an elected position. You can't have more than a quorum of people to talk about something unless you're in an open meeting, and that includes emails or any other electronic communication. So it means kind of really just being aware of not only the legal type of stuff, but also organically what's going on in the real world.
Yeah.
So anyway, what a trustee does, we meet monthly. Priya prepares the agenda with the chair, and it's a pretty standard agenda. We follow the same items, same topic items. And sometimes we talk about, let me go back to the basics because I get into tangents. So the role of a trustee really is to hire and evaluate the director, to financially oversee the status of the library, to approve the budget, to approve and participate in the strategic plan, to make sure that the director is submitting all the necessary paperwork to the state to ensure continued funding. And again, to follow the Massachusetts laws about how library works, and to be an advocate for the library, to support the library. So it's a great job. It's a great position to be in. And the library, the reason I love the library is because it's the one institution, I think, that is available from anyone from birth through death.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong institution.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you said a lot of really interesting things in there that I feel like I want to dig down on a little bit.
Try to answer.
But I think one of them that was, you put it so eloquently, just the way you described how the community engages with the library, and how the library isn't just like this institution that's there, it's not a one-way street. It's really a two-way street with the community, in that, and there's also just the reality of, I think people don't often realize this. If a library has a board of trustees, they're almost kind of a separate organization from the town. Like the library is a town department, but in Shrewsbury, the library director and library staff don't technically report to the town. They report to the board of trustees. I mean, they still have to work as the town.
And I think there was real wisdom in that. I think that, our model is pretty much generic across the board, don't you? I mean, don't you think most libraries operate in that way?
Yeah, it's the way some of the work that I've done with like the New England Library Association, there's occasionally libraries that'll be town departments, or like privately funded, or some other odd little thing like that. But yeah, most of the case, it's a board of trustees.
And I think that's wise, because I think that the library is such a unique institution that really encourages people to explore different ideas, different resources. We don't want anybody else really kind of overseeing that. I don't think, anyway. Hopefully it's apolitical, and not mixed up with other issues that might be going around whatever municipal area that you're living.
Yeah.
So yeah, the library is distinct from other town departments, except for maybe the school department,
Yeah.
But because they hire the superintendent,
Yeah.
so in some way it mirrors that. But yes, so we evaluate the library director, not the town manager. We do try to. One of the things that we did in the past few years was rework the tool that we use to evaluate the director to dovetail a little bit more closely with a municipal tool, just because the rating systems and whatever, it just makes sense to do that. But we did make it specific to the librarian's role and responsibilities. But yes, it's our job to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting, and like you said, you don't really want a lot of other interference in that way. The library, in a lot of ways, is a very, very democratic organization. It's the ultimate kind of representation of the people's voice. It's not a one-way street. It's, we get our direction directly from the community. I mean, it's America. We're a democracy, so you have some representatives, but yeah.
I think it really is a representation of that, right? It's an ideal that actually lives. Being able to share and to borrow, and everyone has access to it. It's pretty cool.
I talk to my kids in the teen advisory about that. That everybody in the community has a voice in the library. It's not the librarian say what happens and you deal with it. We want feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. If people want something to change, they are empowered to
do so.
To do so.
Yeah, and I think maybe I'm incorrect about this, but I think over time that whole concept has changed. When I was a kid, I didn't get that feeling from a library. You could take out X number at a time, and you had to be quiet. And I was kind of afraid of the librarians. They were kind of steely, strict people. But now it's, you're greeted with a smile, and it's kind of like the world is your oyster. Here, do with it as you may, within reason.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, don't say that to any teens,
Oh, no, we won't even go there. No elevator roulette here.
Yeah.
You just can't even imagine the things that they think of. I can't even imagine. They start some crazy new TikTok trend. Why, guys? Why?
Because we can.
Yeah, you said to do what you want.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. So we kind of touched upon this a little bit, but maybe with just like the structure and things, like what are some things that you think people just don't know about like the Board of Trustees? What are some things that you think people might be surprised to learn about either what you do or kind of your experiences on the board?
Sure. So I think one of the things that most people don't realize, again, is the financial piece of things. We really do oversee that. We have to sign off on everything that is expended at this library. Luckily now, honestly, I think because of COVID, it's now coming to us via digital means rather than having a stack of papers this long. So we really
streamlined a lot of stuff.
It streamed, and that was very pleasant. But it also helps us, I think, as trustees, understand where the money is going.
Right.
And honestly, how much some things cost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially digital resources here,
Yes.
and even books, are expensive. I think they're more expensive for libraries than they are if you go to whatever remaining bookstores there are out there. So yeah, that was interesting to me. What else? I think that we're really trying to work with other town departments, and I'm really always impressed with how much the library offers to other town departments, whether it might be use of, what is it, the microfiche or whatever it is, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And really hoping that maybe in time we're able to develop even a stronger working relationship with the
Yeah.
town recreation department, Parks and Recreation Department, because a lot of things really do go hand in hand in
yeah.
terms of that. I think also just working with the town manager is interesting. Again, going back to the whole financial budgeting thing. I think we have an extremely supportive town manager.
Yeah.
But I also think that for many, library is kind of a nice thing to have rather than a must to have. So in times of tense budget discussions, it's been interesting how to walk that line, I guess. You know, understanding that there's only so much money to use,
Right.
but also understanding that the library needs, resources to
Yeah.
work. They
Yeah.
need people to sweep and vacuum and,
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, that was something that came up at some of our human services meetings that you and I have been at. Is that it's often the human services, the library, the council on aging, the rec department that are the first on the chopping block when budgets, when tough economic times. But those are often the times that people, the community needs those services the most because they don't have the extra expendable, income to pay for things separately.
What I love is when people come to visit the library from further afield and they're amazed
Yeah.
that we have this beautiful building, that we have all these books, that we have all the media, that we're offering it for free, that we have they just wander around with this look of joy, overwhelmed joy on their face. And it's the most beautiful thing.
Right. So you'd ask me, what are some of the as being a trustee, I think you become, you listen more and you also just use your eyes more in terms of what's available. There's the library of things.
Yeah.
Who know? You can check out a jigsaw puzzle. You can begin to learn how to use this makerspace that we're sitting in right now. It's just amazing. It's endless, the resources. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't, because it's like Disney World all in one place, but you only have so many staff to make all the rides run,
Some days definitely it feels
Sometimes
like a
we
bit
don't
more-
know how we make it work.
Yes.
Especially when the elevator isn't working or
Yeah.
the HVAC system is askew once again.
When I'm missing part of my ceiling.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. Those June days when you're coordinating all of the teen volunteers and everything.
The ceiling had nothing to do with the teen volunteers,
Good,
to be clear.
good to know.
As far as we know, we still haven't quite figured out what's going on there. But well, okay. So you're kind of touching on it again a little bit. But what have been some of the most rewarding things that you've experienced from being a trustee? I don't know if I mentioned, but my brother is actually a trustee at a library. He just started recently, so this will be good information for him when he's pulling his hair out to know that there's some exciting things to look forward to.
Well, I just think it's being part of something bigger
Yeah.
than yourself and being part of something that's so positive has been the most rewarding. Working, you kind of touched on a little bit earlier that, there's also the Friends, the Friends of the Shrewsbury Public Library, and there's also the foundation. And I'll go into that maybe if we have time a little bit
definitely.
later. But one of the rewarding things last year is that we got together, the three branches that support the library got together, and we developed an annual report of those three supporting groups. And that was a lot of fun. And I never thought I would do something like that, pull together something like that, to be part of something like that. I think also you just get to know the town better. You just feel a part of something, and that's a very rewarding experience. The other thing is, I think that when you become a part of a board that you're elected to.
Yeah.
I think we all of the trustees take that very seriously, that public trust issue. And you want to do a good job. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think that's why I encourage people to go out of their comfort zone a little bit and do something that scares them a little bit.
Yeah.
It scared me to run for that's
Sure.
not something, I'm a town meeting member, but that's nothing. It's a little scary getting your name on it. But, it's been a very rewarding experience. It really helps you learn about the institution that you love so much, but also how it operates within the town. You have so many experiences to get involved with the budgetary process and really get an overview of how things kind of work together, or sometimes don't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's always good. We've loved a lot of our veteran, trustees or friends, board members or that kind of thing, but it's always good to get new people involved too, because it's so easy. I talk about this with Priya all the time because we've both been at the library for a very long time. It's so easy to just kind of get into that tunnel vision and miss things, even if you don't want to, if you're looking for things. So getting new people involved, this can be our clarion call for people to run for the board.
I think it's critical. I think you have to have new blood. I really do. Otherwise, it gets kind of old, and not intentionally, but you end up doing, what you've always done. And absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do a lot of market research as librarians. We're always looking at what other libraries are doing so we can steal their ideas. Do the trustees do that sort of thing? Do you look around at other libraries, other towns, and see what are they doing? What should we be doing?
Well, I'm a snoop by nature, so I do. But, I think one of the roles of the trustees also is to know what your limits are.
Sure.
So, we could, as a consumer, as a patron, we can certainly always suggest things, and we do. But we also have to trust that the director and the staff know what's going to work for this library too. So, we snoop around.
You've got that big trustees meeting coming up next month,
Yeah,
right?
and I can't go to it. I was
no.
gonna be on a panel too, and I had other plans, so I can't go to it. Yeah, it's gonna be here in
It is,
Shrewsbury.
yeah. It's usually all the statewide trustees meet at Shrewsbury
Yeah.
almost every year
Yeah.
since the new building opened.
Yeah. Speaking, Annie, to your comment about what a beautiful building, Shrewsbury is the place to meet. I mean, so many places come here to meet because it was designed so nicely to have that in mind, to have groups of people be able to talk with each other.
We appreciate the leftover catering.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It always winds up down in the circulation area.
Good.
All the leftover salads and cookies and cheeses and things. Yeah, it's
We
great.
do get a lot more opportunities because they're hosted here.
Right.
Meetings
That's
that we
true.
couldn't normally make it to.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
It's
No,
one of the perks, right?
it is, exactly.
Old coffee and stale donuts. Not bad.
Yeah.
I've definitely attended some learning opportunities because it was here.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't
Yeah.
have driven out to Northampton for.
Yeah, it's the building and just the geography too, because I know a lot of stuff we're in Central Mass, so it's very easy. We'd often hold a lot of like New England Library Association events in this area because it's exactly an hour from almost
right,
every part of
right,
New England. So,
right.
and then Shrewsbury, like you said, having this lovely building and these great modular meeting spaces that we do, it does make it a lot
That's
easier.
a challenge, though, for trustees a little bit in terms of the modern building because the building itself is within the historic district.
Yes, yeah.
So one of the things that we worked with another community group was SPAC because I wanted to put in chargers for vehicles in the
Oh,
parking
yeah.
lot. But you know what? Those things did not exist in 1776 or whatever. But
They
we are
just-
finally getting one. But yeah, there's, those kind of juggling things to address.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, it's like you said, the trustees handle everything from as, small as like basic budget stuff to as big as hiring the
director, which
yeah.
is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately, like, you're kind of the final say with that too. I mean, you do it as a committee, but it's ultimately the trustees that get to
We pick.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you had kind of mentioned a little bit that you're involved with some of the other boards, and if we had time, we would talk about that, which we do.
Okay.
So,
All right, good.
so yeah, I mean, if you want to talk a little bit about, you've been very, very involved with the Friends,
Yeah.
especially for a
Yeah.
long time. yeah, kind of what those experiences are and how you found the boards intertwined. Like Annie said, on some level, we can often be a little mystified as to like
What's what?
who exactly handles
Yeah.
this again?
So think of it this way. I guess the trustees are like the executive branch of the
Right.
library. We're the ones that, help set the policy, help develop the strategic plan, oversee the budget, hire the director. So we're kind of at that part. The Friends is a volunteer organization. Please, people, if you're listening, join the Friends because it's a positive group to be in. Although the town budgets the library and we also get state aid,
Yep.
it does not include monies for any of the programs that the library offers. So that is where the Friends come in. And that's why I'm pleading with people to please consider being a friend. Whatever amount you can give would be more than welcome. So if you go to the library website, and Mike, you work it all the time, but
Yeah.
you will see all the programs that are listed. And those are a result of Friends memberships. And, I think it's a big part of what the library is, of all the programs that we offer. So the Friends meet monthly as well, and when I say the Friends, I mean the board of
Yeah,
the Friends.
yeah.
You don't have to go to a monthly meeting, but that's where we decide, what are we going to fund, and what kind of programs do we want to offer. So some of the things that we've offered in the past are things like the Foreign Film Festival, the Holiday Open House, which is always fun. Sometimes we have co-sponsored some of the summer concerts with the town Parks and Recreation Department. So it really is the Friends are kind of like the fun stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing that the Friends does to raise money is we used to have an annual book sale. Now we have a ongoing bookstore.
Which is very
and we
cool.
raise very cool. So we need people to donate any unused books or media type of things, or even art prints that we can sell and then use that money to promote programs in the library. The foundation is another support agency that is there for the library, and they're there really more to sustain library longevity type of things. So anything to do with perhaps capital expenses that the town cannot meet, such as replacing some furniture perhaps, or things like that kind of thing. Also, I think the foundation has really tried to promote community involvement through speaker series.
Yep.
We have one coming up in early October. Chris Bohagian, is that how you say his last name, is speaking?
Yeah, I've heard either Bojalian
Or Becky. Anyway,
I know.
so every year they have tried to sponsor a pretty well-known
Yeah.
speaker to come in and address. And I think that's really just to promote lifelong learning.
Yeah.
So the foundation is there really, again, for sustenance and for, kind of a higher level of programming.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Well, in the interest of preserving your time, thank you so much for
this is fun.
coming in today. Is there anything that, kind of as a parting note, you had mentioned a lot about wanting to get people involved and be part of something bigger? Why don't we make this a clarion call to recruit people to the boards, the board of trustees, the Friends,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be wonderful. If we had more Friends members, please consider running to be a trustee. We're sure that your ideas are valuable. Everybody loves the library. That is part of it, and there's a reason for that. There's a lot of positive energy, and if you're feeling like you need a little more juice in that way, be part of the library because it's a great place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, we're just always looking for new voices, new ideas. We want this to really be representative of what the community wants. That's literally what we're here for.
Yep. Yeah, and the staff is great, and you're all ears and listening to that. So if you have
try.
ideas about programming or services, let them know.
Well, Deb, thank you very much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us
Thank
today.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you
it was
for
fun.
Asking. It was good.
And thank you, Annie, for coming back to co-host with me.
No problem. It's been a refreshing break.
Yeah, I know. So we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up at the library soon. This is probably going to go up in early October. So we've got our spooky month, our spooky programming. I know Youth Services has a lot of spooky stuff
Oh,
coming
always. I mean, you know I'm spooky.
Yeah.
24/7, 365.
You've got a little sign on your door that says something like that, right?
That went up the first week I moved into that office.
And adult services also, we've got a number of kind of spooky-centric programs coming. Ronnie LeBlanc is going to come to give a talk about New England paranormal hotspots. We've got some spooky crafting programs. One of our lecturers, Judge Curran, is going to come to give a talk about the Lizzie Borden trial. And you can find all of this. Just go to our website. We've got our calendar of events up there. We do have paper flyers that go out, paper newsletters you can check out. But definitely, if you want to see everything, just check out the calendar.
I'll put in my particular plug for
Oh, yeah.
my collab with the Parks and Cemeteries Commission,
yeah,
which is
you're
probably pretty
reading.
unusual
Yeah.
for a library. On October the 28th, we'll be doing our annual going across the street to sit in the historic graveyard, probably get rained on, and I'll read spooky stories while I'll eat cookies.
What an event.
It's my favorite. I look forward to it all year.
And if you're interested in bees or becoming a beekeeper, the Friends is sponsoring in our annual meeting in early October. I don't have the date off the top of my head, but it's on the
on the
website.
calendar,
We're having a beekeeper, somebody from the Worcester Beekeepers Association, talk about that. So
Yeah, that'll be exciting. It'll be
a
fun.
buzz in for that.
I'll say your fun fact of the day is that a beekeeper is an apiarist.
An apiarist,
Oh,
yes.
okay. There's a librarian fact.
This fact, if my siblings hear it, will cause them such fury that you'll be able to hear their screams from here.
Well, again, thank you, Deb,
Oh,
for
you're
joining
welcome.
us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'd also like to extend thank you to Philip Zhang, who wrote our podcast music. And I'd like to extend a special thanks to Jessica Smith, who's been sitting here quietly with us the whole time, acting as our in-house producer this time. It's nice to not have to stare at the dials and the knobs and things while also running the interviews. As everybody should know, we're located at 609 Main Street. Feel free to check out our website, shrewsburypubliclibrary.org. You can give us a call at 508-841-8609. Or you can email splreference@cwmars.org. So until next time, we will see you all in the library. Have a great month, folks.